Hello everybody. Okay, we're going to do another video which will be a little more on timing because there are several ways with doing the same thing, and you're going to find that with most programs that you will ever use there are several ways, several different commands, several different methods on doing the same thing. So that's why I'm doing another video which will be more on timing, because most people are actually having a little bit of challenges in that area. So that's why I thought this video may help. Okay, please double check on the translation aids. Check in regularly or subscribe. As you can see, we have one already. Yay! 61 views. We're relatively new. So but if this is helpful to you, please subscribe. Okay, now let's open Subtitle Edit, and I'm going to start from scratch. Okay, File New to load the, File Open. I pressed File New to clear everything. File Open, and I'm going to load the file. I don't want to use this file, but I'm going to do it because I know many of you will use it, but I won't. So I'll load it just for the sake of the exercise. Here's the text file, which is in Finnish, and then we go to Video, Open Video File, and I will load number 17 because it's, see up here, 17 SRT. The text file is 17 and the video is 17. A lot of you will need to double check that because it's especially if you are translating a series and you're doing several in the same program. As you could hear, the video started playing. I did that deliberately because I just want to remind you to always have these selected. So if you hear music playing and wondering what's going on, it's because you haven't selected them. I don't want this text file. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, I just wanted to show you how to do it. Now, I will click to add waveform. See that? Extracting audio. Depending how long your video is and how fast your computer is, this time could vary. It usually doesn't take very long. I mean, half-an-hour programs don't take long. But we will wait. And also, please double check your encoding, because when you have picked up a previously translated text, you always need to make sure that the encoding is set to the encoding that your country needs. Because if you don't have that correct, it will change and convert the characters into something really odd looking later. You may not detect that, but we will later because we use that file in other programs. Okay, look at this. See the squiggly line? It's, as mentioned in another video, that's when there's audio, whether it's music, a person talking, background noise, several people talking. So to enter a line, I'm going to right click on the top here, insert line. Okay, look at that. It happened at the beginning. I don't particularly want it there, but that's how you do that. Now let's play the video. I just clicked on undo to get rid of it. Stop. Okay, here I pressed pause. Always be ready to pause so that you have more or less the correct timing to begin with, and then we can adjust that timing later. Here, insert new subtitle at video position. The shortcut for that is F9. I can't press that because unfortunately it will stop my recording. Otherwise I would have used it. I'll press that. Look at that. It turned red. That means we have selected that line is active. Okay. Now, I have been requested to actually create English subtitles for an English video. And the reason for that is it's not just instructional videos for Swedish people who are translating into the Swedish language. This is for also other countries like Estonia, Russia, etc. Okay, now we've got the Old Testament. Let's see if that's enough time to read that. Right now it's on 2 seconds, but if this is going to remain on the screen longer than 2 seconds, then I will extend it accordingly. Okay, here, I'll go back a little bit. See the baby steps? Okay, to there. So this is active. Oops, hang on, now I lost my spot. Okay, I'll go backwards. Now, see when I put my cursor over the edge, I just drag it along to that position. And even the beginning, I can do a left mouse click so that, look, the Old Testament text is already there, but my translated text comes later. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to drag it up. In fact, it's there too. Okay, so that's a timing there. And let's play it. We can if we double click here, the video will automatically replay from just before this text starts. Look at that. I'm going to double click. There we go. Okay, I paused it. Remember, always be ready to pause. And now we will insert new subtitle at video position. And I'll type down here in the text box, whoops, unlocking the Old Testament. Okay, if we are writing with English writing rules, we don't use Swedish writing rules. We have to convert to the English standard. Now, I will put this on auto break, and it doesn't want to, it's enough. Look at that, it's gone red. It means that generally it's too short to be able to read all this text for the standard viewer. Okay, I'm saying standard viewer, that 2 seconds isn't enough, but we're going to change that anyway. Okay, I'll just take a few baby steps back. Okay, to there, and I'll drag this back a little. That was on the screen for a long time. A few baby steps forward. Actually, I'll check the longer steps because see that blue line moves. Okay, you need to watch the other video. If you think I'm going too fast, it's because you haven't seen the other video yet. Okay, obviously I went too far. That's okay, everything can be modified. Don't have to worry. Move it back there. See, when I do a left click with a mouse, you know that what's happening at the screen at that time. That's why I know I can move this forward. Look at that, it's almost 8 seconds. Now it's red again. It's only because that is over and above the standard time that is allowed to read something. But in this case, it's an exception, because if the text is on the screen for that long, then of course our translated text will remain on the screen for just as long. So even though it's red now, you don't have to worry, because the editor will notice that that's an exception. So don't worry about that. Now let's get ready for the next one. Actually, there's just one more thing I want to say. In the last video, I showed you how to insert these new subtitles at the current video position, but I never went to this. See how it says start time at 9.367 seconds and the duration, which means the length of time, which this text is on the screen, is for 7.987. I'll show you what you can do here as well. You can fine tune it. Instead of fiddling down here and expanding or minimizing the actual subtitles, you can actually do it here. This is more of a fine tuning and it can be quite handy. Look what happens here. Okay, this, as you know, is the subtitle. Look what happens if I click on that. See how it goes down? It decreases, and now it will increase accordingly when I press upwards. So that's handy to know. Another thing, you can actually enter the value here. Instead of using the arrows, if you want it at 8 seconds, press 8. Look at that. That's good to know as well. Okay, let's carry on. Stop. Insert new subtitle, or F9. It's better for you to really get used to the shortcuts, because I promise in the end you will save so much time. Believe it or not, you will. Part 1. David Pawson. I'm not really too keen on having I prefer to have it that way. Let's see what happens. Judges and Ruth. I don't like how it's got part up there. See how it says Judges and Ruth part? That looks silly. I would prefer to either have part 1 David Pawson on the bottom, or Judges and Ruth part 1 at the top, which actually makes sense in this particular example. But don't forget that according to the translation instructions, most subtitles should be bottom heavy. Bottom heavy means you have more text on the bottom compared to what you have on the line immediately above. That's what bottom heavy is. The opposite to bottom heavy is top heavy, which is the opposite. Now, in this case, we're going to make an exception because it makes sense to have Judges and Ruth part 1 on the top. So what I'll do, see, we can only see Judges and Ruth in this text box, but we can see the whole line here. That means it's hiding. So I click here and I drag downwards. Okay, click and drag down, and that's when you see the rest of the line. So what I will do is I'll even get rid of that dash. And I press the up key, the arrow up, and I'll do that. Now don't press auto break, because if you press it again, it's going to change that again. So I'm happy with that. Now all we need to do is extend the time if it needs it. Well, it does, 2.3 seconds. The general viewer will need more time to read that. That's why it's red. The program is set, the subtitle edit program is set to a minimum of 3 seconds, and I think the maximum was 6 seconds. But again, there are exceptions. So even though it turns red, you might even have 2 words on the screen, and you're not going to need 3 seconds to read that. So it really is on a case-by-case basis where you need to make judgments on what is allowed. Okay, sorry about that noise in the background. That was my mobile. Let's continue on. Okay, look how long that extended. So instead of going down here and dragging it, did you notice that when I paused it, the blue needle is all the way down here? Oops, here I am using my hand pointing to the screen. That's a bit silly, you're not going to see my hand. I'll use the arrow. Now here's the blue line, and instead of going backwards down here, we're going to use another method, which are these arrow keys. So you watch what happens down here when I use them. I'm going to increase. See how it's going from 2.513, I press it once. It's going up by hundredths of a second. So I'll keep going. We'll see it soon. Okay, look at that. Okay, 10.21 seconds. And what we'll do, File, Save. Unable to save subtitle file, untitled. Okay, it was untitled. So save as. This was number 17. Okay, what we'll do here, if it's for Sweden, okay, this can be so different for your country. But if you are translating into Swedish, I'm going to delete the .sre. I'll do a dash and then press SE, which stands for Sweden. It's an acronym for Sweden. And now we've got the name of the file up here, see? With the dash SE. Let's continue.
Like every library, the Bible is...
Okay. We'll go down. Now we want to enter. I'll go back here. Insert. See how that's all straight? We know when David Pawson starts talking because we can see the squiggly lines. Insert new subtitle at video position. It's actually okay to insert text just before he starts talking. That's if you have the time, if you're able to, because you don't always have these long pauses when you're entering text. But if you're able to, just enter the text slightly before they start talking. Now, I forgot what he said. Let's listen to it.
Like every library, the Bible is...
Like every library, the Bible is. Like every library, the Bible is.
Sectioned into different kinds of books.
Okay, I'm not too sure if this is going to fit, but let's try. Is sectioned into different, I don't think it's going to fit, different kinds of books. Full stop. Okay, auto break. Okay, look at that, it turned yellow. That means I have got far too much text. What I can do, can you notice he did a pause here? I can even divide that text into two if there is enough time for it. So I'm going to try that. Like every library, the Bible is sectioned. I'll take away that. And auto break. Let's play and see what happens again. As you can see, it's red. So that's not enough time. That's not acceptable. So I will extend that time too.
Like every library, the Bible is sectioned into different...
Yeah, that's okay, because it gives me time to extend it. So I'm going to use the duration button here, because remember he did a pause. Like every Bible, like every library, the Bible is, and then he paused. And this is when he starts saying sectioned. So I've got time to play with, which is good. Now I'm going to extend that. Okay, it accepted it at 3.2. Did you see how it turned blue? I'll minimize that. See how it's red? You want it blue. Okay, and that's okay because I know he said sectioned here, and I've got it in this translated text here. So let's play it again.
Like every library, the Bible is sectioned into different kinds of books.
Okay, into different kinds of books. So I will insert, no, go back, undo. Insert new subtitle at video position, because remember, he's still on the one sentence. So I have to go backwards there. Is sectioned into different kinds of books. To be honest with you, in the English written rules, you don't have dashes after subtitles. They do in Swedish, so this is something you will need to check with your country, whether they require a dash when the sentence hasn't finished. In the English language, we have, well, just like most languages really, you've got a full stop at the end of something, but this sentence carries on, so I don't have a full stop or a comma there. So just double check with your country with what their requirements are. Let's play that again.
Like every library, the Bible is sectioned into different kinds of books. We look...
Okay, now that I'm going to extend. Here he says we look. See how that squiggle lines appear again? Let's go here. Okay, that was acceptable. Now I'm going to get ready to insert new subtitle at video position. There we go. Let's play it again.
Like every library, the Bible is sectioned into different kinds of books. We looked at the book of Leviticus,
We looked at the book of Leviticus. Remember, another thing, you are translating ideas and not words. In this case, I haven't need to revert to that method because I have had time to be able to translate what he is saying. But there are shows, for example, Sid Roth, where they manage to say so much in a shorter amount of time, where you are really forced to compress the idea of what they are expressing. So please remember that. Another general rule of thumb is that for every 10 minutes you need roughly or generally 100 subtitles. So a subtitle consists of, normally doesn't always necessarily consist of 2 rows, but for example here, this is counted as a 1, even though it's 2 lines. Okay, it's 1 subtitle, it's 1 row in the subtitle software. I'm going to have to end this video just for now because otherwise it's going to be too long. Okay, I will see you later. Bye-bye.